I'm not going to say I told you so, but Nick Fuentes just told us he's not America first. He's someone who would happily watch the West fail.
Fuck those people, and I hope Iran crushes them. I hope they get fucking destroyed. They're traitors. They are traitors to their country, and I hope they get fucking crushed. They are traitors to their country. Iran is fighting for their sovereignty. Israel is blowing up their country. And I get why people are angry. They're hungry, they're poor, but no, I don't want to talk to those people. I'd rather talk to the Ayatollah. I'd rather talk to the jurists. I'd rather talk to the Qataris than the leaders of the revolution.
That is honestly a position I didn't think a single person in the West held. You openly support the Iranian government over the Iranian protesters. You support the regime that is cracking down on its own citizens just for demanding basic necessities. That's just totally beyond words. But if you've been paying attention to my videos, hearing this from Nick should not surprise you. This is exactly where his view of government was always going. My regular viewers know that I've been adamant that Nick Fuentes isn't just bad because of his hatred for anyone who's not a white man. He's dangerous because he has a fundamentally warped view of who the government is supposed to serve. That clip I showed you proves everything I've been saying. Let's get the obvious out of the way first. The Ayatollahs are not the good guys. Whether you're pro-Israel or anti-Israel, we should all be able to agree that a theocratic regime that imposes harsh religious law, crushes dissent, and suffocates a once beautiful Persian culture is bad. Even Nick admits that he understands why the people are rising up, because they're poor and hungry. So why would he side with that regime? On the surface, sure, it might be because Israel and the United States hate Iran, and Nick now sees everything through that lens, always going the opposite of what would be good for us. But it goes deeper than that for him. He supports the Ayatollahs because their system is extremely close to his preferred system of government. He loves that authoritarian style of rule. At least, he loves the fantasy of what it could be. How do I know this? Listen to this part of the video again and see if you pick up on it.
They are traitors to their country. Iran is fighting for their sovereignty. Israel is blowing up their country.
Listen to how he talks about Iran defending its sovereignty. He's not talking about the Iranian people. He's talking about the regime, the Ayatollahs, as if they are the true Iran. In his worldview, the country belongs to the rulers, not the citizens. But historically, when we talk about the right to self-determination, we mean that the people decide who governs them. The revolutionaries, the workers, the students in the streets, that is the nation. That's who has the right to self-determination, self-governance. But Nick Fuentes just flips that entire idea on its head. For him, the regime decides the nation's direction. And anyone who disobeys is a traitor who deserves whatever the regime does to them. So when Nick cheers for the regime, he's not just taking the morally bankrupt side of the conflict. He's revealing his whole philosophy of government. The state owns you. If you resist, you deserve to die. At least, as long as the ruler is a king-like figure that he approves of. Which may be exactly why he wants to get rid of the American Constitution and replace it with a king.
And I would not be opposed to, something like a king that sits.
It's honestly right out in the open that Nick Fuentes hates everything America is supposed to be. He doesn't want a constitutional republic. He wants a throne. And I know that might sound a bit dramatic, but watch this clip.
Order comes first, liberty comes second, and order has to be maintained by a powerful state. Order has to be maintained by authority. And where does authority proceed from? Force, guns, overwhelming force, power that comes out of the end of a rifle, and legitimacy.
Here's the thing about Nick. He says stuff like order comes before liberty, but does he actually believe that that should apply under our current system? Because this is the guy who openly pushes for a king. The same guy who openly says he wants Democrats to win so that the country fails and people become desperate enough to accept his better system sooner. Think about that. He's rooting for our system to collapse. If you really believed order before liberty applied right now in America, what would that make him? Wouldn't that make him the traitor? Or is it only treason if you live under the type of kingship that he claims to want, like the authoritarian government of Iran? In his ideal world, the Constitution falls, somebody like him takes power, and then the government gets to do whatever it wants to anyone who protests. That's why he drools over regimes like Iran. He looks at the Ayatollahs and thinks, wow, that's the kind of power that I'd like to have in America. But he doesn't think America is ready for that kind of regime just yet. So right now he wants chaos. He wants Democrats to wreck this country so badly, people finally give up on liberty and beg for order, no matter the cost. That's the only way that his vision works. If you appreciate this kind of slow, evidence-based teardown instead of team sports politics, consider subscribing. This channel is about following the logic wherever it leads, even when it cuts against the biggest names on my own side. That's important when it comes to Fuentes, because he wants to plant a seed of doubt about the United States and about the Western way of life in every young man's mind, so that when the time comes and those young men are in charge, they'll be ready to crown the king. He's not brave enough to openly start the revolution he daydreams about, but he is absolutely rooting for our country to fall so that he can cash in if the system collapses. For him, it's rulers over people and power over liberty, but only after his side wins. He is not someone that young men should be looking to for their political thinking. What he's selling is a totally anti-Western view of the world and the complete opposite of a conservative view. Conservatives believe in limited government, where the people are allowed to flourish in their own endeavors, whatever they may be. We believe in the system that the founders envisioned, where checks and balances prevent any one branch of the government from getting too strong. We believe that the government is the representative of the people, not the murderers of 50,000 protesters. Nick's vision of the United States is one where if you ever criticize the government, protest, speak out, then you are the traitor. You should be crushed. You deserve to be murdered. Of course, he won't say that that's the role of our government now, but look at these recent statements and his history. First, he's out there praising Hitler, celebrating his idol Stalin's birthday. Now he's siding with the Iranian Ayatollah. If that's your political Mount Rushmore, you are not America first. He hates the foundations of Western civilization. He hates democracy, the rule of law, and despite claiming to be a Catholic, he supports the regimes that destroy any semblance of real religious life among their people, replacing independent churches with a faith in the cult of the state. Do you really want to go along with his master plan of letting the nation crumble? Do you really want to hand a man like him that much power over our nation? Are you going to be brainwashed by what he calls his America First agenda? Or are you going to finally wake up, think for yourself, and work within the ordered liberty that the founders of this great nation gave us? Live in reality, not his fantasy. If you found this video thought-provoking, you want more slow, evidence-based breakdowns like this, subscribe before you go. My goal is to follow the logic to the truth while giving my thoughts about what is truly best for America and by extension, the conservative movement. If you want to make sure that you actually see the next video, subscribe to my Substack. I'll throw the link in the description and in the pinned comment. Subscribe there and you'll get an email every time I post a new video or article. No algorithm required. With that, I'll see you next time. Thank you.